And welcome back to it, everybody. We are in Shacknews E7, so many E's. And today on this segment of the show, we have developers from Deceive Inc. repping the newest update for the game. Thank you guys for joining us again.
Hello, everyone. I'm Phil from Sweet Bandits. I am co-studio head and designer on the team.
Hey everyone, my name is Pacini, I guess, and I'm the audio designer and music producer, composer, whatever is the name for this kind of job, and I also make UI, graphic design, and a slew of other things amongst.
And music plays into a big part of what we're going to be talking about today, and we will get there. But at the top of it, let's talk about like the big news for Deceive. Y'all are out of early access. You've had time in the wild, full release, past 1.0 with the game. You're about to release a huge new update that's going to kind of change the way that players approach the game. And can you take us into that and tell us a little bit more about this update?
Ever since we've got players to play the game, that be it in alpha, in beta, or even since launch, one of the big things that we had players tell us is that they love being sneaky, they love pulling sneaky tricks on people, but often they get into games where other players are going gun crazy, running around, playing like Rambo, and even if they want to play stealthy, it kind of affects their enjoyment of how the match goes. So in our first title update, we introduced what we call the EAT system, but it was extremely kind of a basic system. The idea was that if you shoot a NPC that's not a player, if you shoot them down, you're gonna gain some EAT, and as you kind of do it more often, you get some huge penalties that are going to affect how you play. With the Eye Alert update, we are really pushing that much farther. The feedback we got as we introduced kind of the basic EAT system was just, we want more of it. We made a poll on that system, and I think like it was the overwhelming majority of people wanted more of it, and they wanted more of it in kind of all aspects. Bigger penalties, they wanted it to last longer, they wanted it to be easier to gain EAT, and that's really what this update is built on. So we remade the entire EAT system. Now just dealing damage to NPCs that are not there is going to build EAT on you, and that it builds more than before. So quite easily, if you make too many bad reads, you'll build that EAT. You get vulnerable to damage from other players while doing this. That was really kind of the big thing we looked into, is that what is the one thing that is going to dissuade a very aggressive player from just shooting everything in sight? It's taking more damage. It's making them worse in a fight. So that will make them think a bit about what exactly should they take that shot or no? Should they look a bit more to be sure that this is a player or not? And really just adding consequences and adding EAT as kind of a resource in some sense. Like, do I build some EAT to try and validate my hunch that this might be a player? And if you're wrong, you build that EAT, you want to go back into stealth, you want to try to de-escalate the situation a little bit.
Yeah, it has this whole big push and pull situation in which it's super fun. In some cases, you might want to clear a room just to make sure that there's no sneaky bastard right in the room with you. And it's been great. It's been really great. And one thing that, as Phil mentioned, since it's kind of a resource, you can almost use it against other players if you're sneaky enough, right? If somebody's going gun-ho, you can just weigh them out a bit and then dish out a big chunk of damage if they've got enough EAT, and just be sneaky about it.
And it's worth clarifying, because like reading over this, it's not something that completely dissuades gunfights. Like, it's not something that keeps players from trying to be aggressive with one another or try to make that call. It's more of just, this game is not Quake. This game is not Unreal Tournament. It's a spy game, and James Bond never went through a movie just icing everybody in the entire room. But it does seem to make players make better, like, it pushes them to make better decisions about who they're going to engage and when. Do I have that right?
Yeah, I think it's really that, and that was kind of the important thing, and that's why we kind of approached it in a iterative phase. Like, we could have really went all out first time, going with a super punitive system, and run the risk of just taking out another aspect that is fun, and it's that kind of these stealth elements that build up, they lead to that fun fight, right? And you don't want to lose the fun fight. You want them to happen and still get that build up, that tension of, is this someone, am I taking the right shot? So we wanted to keep these fights. That was super important for us. Like, we don't want to lose the action part of the game. We just want to have, there's a price to pay. There's something to think about. Like, am I taking this shot? Is this guard a player? Am I taking the shot? Or do I look for like 5 seconds more, 10 seconds more to make sure that this is a player or not? And maybe that person is thinking the same thing. And you have kind of that tension building up of just waiting it out. And even if you're wrong, like for example, you say, you shoot that guard, oh, it wasn't a player. You get shot by another guard, you take him out. Okay, you build up some heat. You are more vulnerable to damage, but you still get a chance to go back into stealth and lose that heat over time. It's really kind of a call to retreat, a call to, okay, maybe I'm better off trying to lose them and go back into stealth, which we think is very kind of fitting for the overall spy fantasy of things. And it kind of goes hand in hand with another change that we made for the update, which is that when you down spies, they drop that pack on the ground that you loot, and you have their intel in there, you have their ammo, you have a bit of health, but now it also gives you back your cover instantly if you loot that. So the idea is, if you are right and you're having that one-on-one fight with a spy, like you guessed right, this is a spy, you have a fight, you win, you can instantly take that back and go back into stealth play, disappear in the crowd right away after winning that fight. Like, you can dodge having a third party coming to try and find you after that battle. You can just disappear right back into the crowd. Guards won't harass you for a long time after that fight, which is something that could be frustrating. And that kind of enabled us also for the other part of that, which is elite guards, which are stronger guards that we are adding to the game that are rarer. Well, now you have a good out. If you win that PvP fight, you can just loot that pack and disappear. So having stronger guards is less of a problem than it would have been before, like where you could have this very fair one-on-one PvP fight, you win, and then guards won't leave you alone and you can't get out of there. So it was really adding kind of a very clear go back into stealth ending to PvP fights that fit the game well. You still need to go there and grab it. You could be intercepted and you can't go grab it. You have to leave. But we thought it really added a very nice flow to the overall proceedings.
And I take note that like this is the augmentation and like increasing of the heat system was something you mentioned as like this was an ask from the community. So I have to imagine, because y'all have been listening to the community from the get-go and trying to meet their needs halfway. So I have to imagine that there were a lot more players that were more interested in like a proper hit-and-run spy game than players that just wanted to go guns a-blazing.
The funny thing is actually, so that was something that surprised me in some way, and I was happy about it, because at first when we introduced it, I was like, okay, I think there's a part of our community that might not like the concept of heat, right? Like, you're always hesitant. Like, these aggressive players, they might hate it, they might turn on us, think that we don't value the action part of the game as much as they do, which is not the case. We always try to keep it very important, but that was kind of that fear. It was a bit irrational, but it was that fear. And as we got heat out, like, the very clear message, even from players of our community that are known as very aggressive players, it was like, I'd like to interact more with heat. I'd like it to be more present, because even if they are good at fights, they also like to have to be good at identifying spies to have these fights. It's really the fight they find interesting, but I think adding fun context to these fights, because you have to look more, you have to be a bit more sure, and just kind of the overall fantasy, I think it just makes sense that if you are having this one-on-one against a spy, if you start shooting just random people at the other side, you should have a penalty for it. That's not very spy-like. It's not professional. Like, I think it does fit I think everyone was on the same board that it fits the fantasy of the game. Like, it's not something that feels out of place for what the game is. It just kind of made sense. And so when the message was, even from aggressive player, that message was, we want more heat, that was like, okay, gloves off, let's do some more things with it, because we're happy to try to do more with it. It's just we were kind of scared that it would sidetrack the game, and having it in the wild, don't think it did. And now having that kind of next step on it, and like you've said, we've been listening to the community for a long time, since the alphas, and I think that's something we'll keep doing. And as we release heat, I don't think this is a done and dusted, we'll never touch the heat system again. I think this is another big step. Like, we are building a more robust system, and it's also a system we can iterate on much faster than before. So if people are like, we want more heat, we can raise things a little bit faster, not having to rebuild something from the ground up. So we'll definitely be listening. We'll be looking at what people think of that new system, if they want it to be more, if they think it's a bit too much, what they think about it, and we'll keep tweaking it over the coming weeks, I'm certain.
I have to ask, have you had players in the community that are just like, challenge accepted, going to get as much heat as possible and try to finish the match anyways?
Yeah, we often have, even in our internal playtest, we've got some of the bandits that are going full-on rascal mode and just tries to get as much heat as possible and see how long they last. A spoiler alert, they don't last that long, because, but yeah, and we've got a couple of players from our community that started to do challenge streams with kind of a roulette with different challenges, and they just turn the wheel, and it just okay, now I've got to win a game only using melee attacks or whatever. So we do love to see this kind of a self-inflicted pain from our players, but mostly it's been really great seeing how people have been reacting to it.
And with the game having been out for some time now, like you've had feedback on the full like version of it. You've had like you said, the heat system was spawned out of community desires. How have you felt about the game's progression so far following launch? Like, is it where you wanted it to be? Have there been surprises? Have there been things that like came out that like you're maybe going to implement in future patches? How's it going so far?
We're pretty happy with the overall reception. I think it was extremely positive, just from Steam reviews. Also, you can see that we're landing at a very positive place, especially for a competitive multiplayer game, which I think is kind of can be a bit salt-inducing sometimes, and some people go drop a negative review when they have a negative experience. So we are very happy with the overall reception. I think we did have a lot of surprise, and that's part of staying agile. I think that's one thing that we've kept on doing since we launched, is just keeping an ear out and keeping place in our pipeline for stuff that we didn't think we should be working on, but that becomes a priority because of what we are seeing in the wild. And I think the EAT system is a huge example of that. It's not like we didn't have a timeline with this is the EAT system where we work here. It was really, okay, players want more of it. There's too much kind of shooting. We need to do something that's going to change the meta a little bit. So we took that time and we moved resources to, okay, let's work on this. It's important. It's going to be a big thing. And that's something that, of course, we have stuff that we need to plan in advance, like a new agent. It's not spawning out of nowhere. We need to have people working on that new agent. Same thing for new maps. So those things are planned long in advance, but we are keeping a lot of space to just be able to, okay, players really want this. Let's work on this and start working on it. And so there's a lot of stuff in the work that directly come from demand. I think one of the, it's not necessarily a surprise, but the amount of demand we had for private lobbies, like players want able to host their own custom game and invite their friends in there. I don't think we expected the amount of demand. Like, we knew people wanted it, but this is like, it's the #1 thing we get asked for, like literally everywhere. So that's a good example of shifting resources and being like, okay, what's the earliest we can give them that, but at the doing it well too, right? You don't want to just give custom lobbies that are completely scuffed. So that was really, I think that's a big part of it. It's staying agile. It's something we'll keep doing, and I think that paid off really well. And also just learning as we go that having a live game and how fast can we react to things. We are building more things on our side to just being able to react faster to stuff, being able to iterate faster on stuff, and that's something that we keep just learning. Like, something new pops up and it's the new meta, and we're like, okay, that's not really fun. Like, when this time we can't act as fast as we want, so how can we in the future be able to tackle that right away? And that's how we also we have a live balancing system that was kind of born out of that, where we can push live, like at any time, changes to the balance of the weapons, for example. So we could change the damage of something live. There's no patch. As you log in Deceive Inc, you're going to get that change, and it's going to affect everyone in the game. So that's something that was born out of necessity of just, okay, we can't let them with unbalanced stuff for too long. We need to have better systems to act on it. And while it's not perfect, it's stuff that we are still working on to just be able to better respond to the community, better respond to overall tweaks that we need to make in the future.
And one of those things that I feel that like players are often so nitpicky about is cosmetics. As you've built like colors, microtransactions, like skins, calling cards, all that stuff. Has the response been good? And like, moreover, how have you felt about like the sort of balance on price versus like the amount of content coming out?
I think overall, the response was very good. I think people really liked the that's one other thing that I think surprised us, is just how people love the cast of characters, and they actually want more cosmetics in a lot of ways, and that was something that we didn't necessarily have the pipeline for. Like, how can we output more cosmetics because people want more of them? I think overall the value was very good, and people were very happy about it. The big thing I think that we are doing in DI that is kind of unique to us is every skin is basically 2 skins. You have the alternate style that you can turn on, and that's something that you get with every single skin. And even like our store skins that we have some skins that are store only, and these one, like, they are 2 entirely different skins. They are very unique. We've spent special amount of time on those to make them kind of extra value and feel like they add the most effort in there, to make sure that, yeah, okay, if you are about to put a bit more money into this game because you enjoy it, we feel like what you get in return should be very good. But also on that point, it was important for us that even for people that don't want to spend more money, they get more stuff. And that's part of the eye alert update. For example, we have some new inks for your weapons, some animated inks, which is something we've been asked for quite a bit. Those are the first ones. They are not store only. You can get them with DI credits just by playing the game. You can get them by leveling up, getting the loot briefcase, which are kind of boxes that you can't buy. You only get them by leveling up. They are purely rewards that you get. And these new inks, yeah, they are all kind of gainable for free, and that's something we'll keep doing, right? We want players to be able to keep unlocking stuff. We're not putting everything new behind a store. Same thing for new agents. Like, we released Red for our first season, and you can unlock her with DI credits, but you also get her immediately if you buy the premium catalog for the game. So it's really how we've been looking at things, trying to make just players that don't want to put any more money, like, they can unlock a bunch of things. They'll get the new agents. We are not kind of splitting the community. What you want the new agents, you need to put more money in there. For us, it was really important that if you pay it for cosmetics, it's because you like the game and you want to kind of spend more on these special cosmetics. But still having a good selection and good content that will keep delivering, keep having new one over time, even for players that don't want to spend any more money on the game than the base asking price.
Yeah, and if I can jump on that, it's something that we proud ourselves with, that our premium, if you like the game enough and you want to buy the premium catalog, it does not time out, right? You buy it, you can grind it for however time you want. If in 3 months if you come back and you bought the first seasonal catalog, you can keep grinding it and unlocking stuff. It does not go magically away like any other form of battle pass. And that's one thing that we truly wanted for our players, something that feels fair. And it's basically, hey, yo, you love our game, you want to spend more time with it, and you want to give us a bit of a boost, money boost. Well, just hop in, and we thank you for that. And we don't care about the like time constraints or that kind of stuff.
Nice. So it sounds like you're kind of meeting everyone on all fronts, whether they want to spend more money or whether they want to just earn it in the game.
Yeah, that's really where we're trying to go, and also just like the big drive toward FOMO, like the fear of missing out for cosmetics, and it's really something we've been trying to avoid everywhere we can. Like, our shop rotations, they don't disappear for like for 3 months. You'll never see that skin again. Get it right now. It's a very small rotation that keeps rotating every day. Like, in a week, you can see everything and you can get your skin during that week. That's even something that we are going to. We had some talks about how can we scale that up in the future and it not becoming FOMO, because there's more skins, so it expands that window of time. So that's probably something we'll look into eventually, in that if we have more skin offerings, like move away from kind of a rotation and have more of a you can scroll to and choose what you want to buy from it, because we really don't want to go down that route. I think that's something that we are an indie developer, right? We want to do, like, we have our community and we love them. They love to give their feedback. They're very present. Like, we don't want to have kind of that exploitative nature in how we present stuff. Like, these people, they want to support us. They buy these stuff because they want to support us. Our plan is not to make it, okay, you're gonna miss that skin and you'll never see it again. Like, no, the catalog, it does not expire. Like, if you bought it, you can finish it in 5 months if you want. It's not a time pressure to finish it before it's over. The skins, they'll be back. Like, it's not see you in 3 months if you want to get that Cavalier skin. It's never coming back. It's really something we try to be as fair as possible on. Like you've said, like, kind of meeting halfway. Like, if someone just want to buy the box price, they get a good experience. We add stuff in there for them. And if someone wants to encourage us, like, we are not taking advantage of them or just making them feel bad for not spending money right there. Like, everything they buy is permanent. There's no time constraint to buy it. So that was really important for us, that we had a fair monetization kind of way of doing things. Like, we need money for the servers, but there's a way to do it that's not kind of a predatory, I think.
Yeah. And speaking of stuff that people aren't going to have to pay for, there's another huge part of this update. The soundtrack for Deceive Inc. An amazing soundtrack to begin with, but you're giving it to your players for free.
Yeah, we're that kind of people. It'll be available really pretty darn soon, if we can say so.
Actually, by the time this plays, it's gonna be available.
Yeah, it's gonna be available. So
we can say it's available now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's available now. To be honest, truth be told, I totally forgot that. But yeah, by the time this airs out, it's available on all major streaming platforms, and yeah.
And if for some reason it's not, it will be very soon.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that if it's not, it's because of the different streaming platforms have different times of processing things. But yeah, it'll be available, and the reception for this has been tremendous, to say the least, and we're all stoked and all proud of the how much people likes it. I'm the first one to be surprised about it, but yeah, it's great. It needed. I know that a lot of our players did some in-game rips and put them on YouTube because they were so thirsty for the soundtrack, but I needed to do a little bit of arrangement work, because if you've never played Deceiving, the music in-game changes depending on the context, whether you're in cover or out of cover, and depending on where in the mission, like how many terminals has been deactivated, how many, if the car has been called for the extraction, it all changes dynamically depending on what's happening in the game. So for each level, I needed to do some works to, okay, when you're in cover, when there's no terminal unlocked, to in cover when there's 2 terminal unlocked, and just do some kind of a sweet arrangement for each of the levels. And that took a bit of a while, and then sending that to streaming platforms, yada yada. You know the drill.
Yeah, and like, that is a very interesting part of it, is that this music changes throughout a mission constantly, in really good ways. Like, I really love the swell of like music when it's on the action, but like, you might have someone that wants to sit in for like the calmer parts of a level and just jam out on that vibe for a little while, or you might want I might be on a workout kick and I might want like something, I might want that guns a-blazing, like it's time to get out of here music to help me get hyped for that end. I'm like, how difficult was it to cut these tracks in a way that was like cohesive and like met everything that everybody was asking for?
Wow. The thing is, that might be the best thing about how I work is that I'm pretty darn lazy. So I managed to make all the levels music very fit well cohesively depending on wherever you are in the mission. So I already did a bit of work in advance intrinsically because of how I build the music for each level. But yeah, basically it's just that I'm lazy, and that's why it's been easier than most, I think, than other games to just put out the soundtrack. But yeah, it's been great. It's been cool. And also one thing that I did for this for the soundtrack is that there's a lot of contextual music depending on the environment. Yeah, like in Diamond Spire, if you're in the gym, there's a motivational montage type beat going on, and I've put this in the soundtrack, and it's something that some players might not even notice or known that it was there, but I just threw it in there because the song exists. Why the hell not? And there are a couple of other surprises, like songs that aren't actually in the game, but that were used for me to create other tracks that are in the game. So we're pulling a bit of the curtains behind from the backstage, if that does make sense.
Now, this is your own work, and I understand it may be a little bit awkward to pick one out of your babies, but, like, is there one track that is, like, your jam?
I would say that my favorite one would be the reveal trailer arrangement of the theme of Deceive Inc. For numerous reasons. First, the melody that I concocted for Deceive Inc, da 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 da, the things that stays stuck in your head for days on out. I'm really darn proud of that stupid motif, and I just think that the way I reworked it is very lavish, it's very glitzy, and it fits for a reveal trailer thing, and it's just very glamorous, and I fuck with that kind of stuff.
And then also, like, where are people going to be able to find it? What streaming platforms are people going to be able to find the soundtrack on?
Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music, probably a ton of which I don't even know about. I just pressed send to everything, so at the end of the day...
There's going to be an official press release with all the spots where it can be found, but yeah, I think there's quite a few, so you should be able to find it somewhere for sure.
Yeah. The soundtrack will find a way.
Nice. And final question, vinyl. It's a thing. People love themselves some vinyl these days. Have you all thought about putting this soundtrack to a vinyl record? My opinion does not represent the one of my employer and only mine, but I made this soundtrack to be I wanted this baby to be on vinyl. That's all that I'll say. Now when it comes to if it'll be you can ask Phil or whatever. Way to throw him under the bus.
Yeah, I'm really throwing some shade over here. I think that would be really cool. We'll see how things goes. I think that was something like we had. The OST is once again something that was kind of community request, like from everywhere, and that's really. I mean, Simon wanted to do it, but it was kind of a we're gonna do it eventually. But there was so much community request from people wanting that soundtrack that was like, okay, let's do it. let's give it to them. They'll be happy about it, and then of course, if there's demand for a vinyl, we'll see what we'll do. Like,
let's do it.
Let's take it one step at a time for that one, but that would be really cool. I think at the very least, have one for the studio would be great. Yeah. But then everybody will want one if we send pictures.
Yeah, we can't just like take a screen like a photo of us with a vinyl and just flex on the end. That would be kind of
could be a nice prize to win for the community for something though. That could be fun. Now I'm putting myself on the line saying that over here. But
you're going to get into hot water with this.
Yep, I'm in trouble now.
Yeah, but regarding as Phil mentioned, the OST was something that I wanted to do, but like Phil said, we're trying to be agile and just move things around, and depending on what the community asks, if that makes sense, right? And for me, it was something that I would do like someday. I'll do the arrangement thing to put on streaming platform because I had other things to do. But since there was a public outcry about this, I just I shuffle things around, right? And the thing is, we're a small team and we wear many hats. So if I'm working on arranging this soundtrack thing to be on streaming services, I'm not working on the iconography for a next agent or whatever, you know? So that's why we needed to do some shuffling, shuffle the cards a bit and see where we could land this. But no, hey, it's here, finally.
Awesome. And where can people learn more about Deceive Inc? Where can they learn about the new update? And just give us like the bottom line on where people can find out more about Deceive Inc.
I think the place to be is our Discord. I'd say overall for just the news, we post everything over there. On Steam directly, if you follow us on our page, we post every kind of update notes. We try to also post updates well before the release, so we have kind of work in progress patch notes, so that players can have kind of a look at what we are working on, even if it's not releasing now, and then we have kind of a updated version. So I think Discord is the great place to be. The Tripwire forums, if you go to the Tripwire website, over there you also have place for kind of deceiving feedback, just the overall thread. If you, that's where also we look sometimes for some of the bugs the community find for us. So that's a good place to be. But I'd say go to our Discord, the Deceiving Discord. You'll get all the information over there and the latest news. We also tend to do some Q&A streams where we take questions from all these places to answer for the community. We actually had one this morning, which is probably not the time this video goes through, so it's probably a few days ago. But we'll do more. Every time we have a new update, we're grabbing question from the community and just kind of giving them a clear look at where we are headed. So yeah, join our Discord. We'll have some fun over there.
Fantastic. Thank you for joining me today, and thank you so much for this game. It's been a blast, and it's great to see it continue to grow.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you. Yeah.
Thanks for having us. Always a pleasure.
And if y'all are watching, this has been TJ Dinser, Senior News Editor for Shacknews. We have plenty of more Shacknews E7 on the way, so keep it hot here. Keep watching. We'll have more coming at you shortly.